Simping is a serious disease. If not treated properly, it can lead to brain fog, depression, severe hand blistering, and, in extreme cases, a painful, permanent erection. Baki is about buff men fighting other buff men, fighting not so buff men, and fighting Japanese Bigfoot. And well, some of those not so buff men happen to be simps. If there's one thing Baki can teach you, it's how not to be a simp and the benefits that come from remaining asymptomatic so that you don't end up being beaten up by a 6'4" Canadian in an underground car park. You know, just in case.
Bruh.
So today, we're gonna go over the ways that Baki is basically the anti-simp, and instead how to become the Chad that men want to be and women want to be with. But on a more serious note, I know this sounds shallow and dumb, but a lot of these principles we talk about actually derive from Stoic philosophers such as Plato and Marcus Aurelius, and have helped me actually live a happier, more fulfilling life, and I think can help you too. But let's have some fun with it anyways. Kozue, Baki's landlord's daughter turned girlfriend, is quite the catch. Strong-willed enough to get the praise of the ogre, and hot enough for Baki to bang like a screen door. And we all know that hot girls get a lot of admirers, and for Kozue, this admirer was Muhammad Ali Jr. He goes to get coffee with her, full-on proposes to her, and professes his love to her multiple different times. And if he got to know her first and seduced her, then of course it wouldn't be an issue, but the point is he didn't do any of that. He's a simp. Suckas, idolizing, mediocre. But on the other hand, we see the stark opposite in Baki. Let's watch what happens when Junior threatens to take Baki's girlfriend right in front of him.
You're the one who needs to do something. It's not something I get to decide. This isn't up to me.
Baki did something very effective that professional pickup artists call controlling the frame, also referred to as passing shit tests. This is when someone says or does something provocative to judge your strength of character. A very common one is if a girl says, "Are you hitting on me?" And if you were to respond with, "No, I was just saying hi," you failed the test, my friend. Instead, you should keep the frame and calmly say, "Yes, where are you from?" So the fact that Baki didn't feel defensive or jealous when Junior hit on his girlfriend, it shows a high level of emotional stability. He doesn't waste time and energy trying to defend his girl, as he trusts that if she really is his girl, she will stay with him. And if not, well, he can just leave her to the streets. But also, he shows a high level of emotional maturity. At the core of being a simp is the thought that someone else will complete you, even at the expense of them not being happy. But you will soon realize that no other person can make you complete. Only you can. Baki understands this. He truly loves her and so wants the best for her, whether it's with him or someone else. And it may not seem like it now, but this will most certainly make him even more attractive to any woman who sees this side of him. So he lets Kozue decide for herself. If she wants to stay with him, great, but if she doesn't, well, that's also fine by him. As Baki doesn't want to be with a girl who is unfaithful, so he leaves the decision up to her. Okay, let's see what happens when they fought. Junior doesn't get the girl and instead ends up bloodied and beaten like a redheaded stepchild. He thought that if he could be with her, then he would be happy and that she would make him happy. But when that didn't happen, in his mind he associated being with Kozue with being happy, so when she stayed with Baki, it made him as a result sad. Aww. His issue then was that he pushed away the idea of current him being happy and made himself think that only by achieving a goal, in this case Kozue, would he be happy. And this is just a destructive mindset that will never lead to satisfaction, because after all, as Eckhart Tolle says, don't seek happiness, you won't find it, because seeking is the antithesis of happiness. See guys, I told you this wasn't just all gonna be about muscles and chicks. And although Junior makes a good example of what not to do, we can kinda give him a pass cause he's just a punch-drunk meathead who doesn't know any better. Baki had to learn what to do the hard way, from his own mother. Yes, women can be simps too. They're called wimps. Or is it gimps? I can't remember. Baki's mother had her ears burst and her back broken because she simped for Yujiro when he clearly had no interest in her. She, like Junior, convinced herself that she could only be happy by gaining the love and attention of one person, and so made herself unhappy when she couldn't achieve this unrealistic goal she placed on herself. And in her case, she only came to realize the errors in her thinking and what really mattered to her once it was too late. Baki was not afraid of Junior, and like the stoic badass he is, let the situation play out as is and never got heated or angered by Junior's advances, trusting in Kozue and his own ability to please her. However, before Junior appeared on the scene, we got to see another example of Baki having high immunity levels to simpitis. In the Baki universe, and actually a lot of this world too, losing your virginity is synonymous with attaining manhood, and comes with not only a new perspective on the world, but also a power boost as well. Baki was pressured by his father multiple times to go and do the act, to give in to his desires, and to rather bluntly, plow away. Which Baki does. He does it a lot, but even so, he never becomes addicted, and his desire for strength is never replaced. He doesn't become a slave to his sexual desires, and instead attains the benefits without the drawbacks of addiction. Unlike a simp who places sex on a pedestal as the greatest thing in life, Baki instead uses it as a stepping stone towards his goal. He enjoys it for sure, but he never becomes a slave to it. He doesn't convince himself that sex is the only thing that will bring him happiness, and so can be happy by just being himself without becoming dependent on something which he hadn't even felt before to be happy. After all, he was happy before he did it, so there's no way that sex is necessary for him to be happy. Something which contrasts Biscuit Oliva. Why did they name him Biscuit? Anybody know? No? Okay. Anyways, the beast of a man became a slave to worldly desires like wine, steak, and money, and forgot the reason he first attained strength. This stopped Unchained from being free, because he allowed himself to become a slave to material things. However, due to his interactions with Baki, someone who understands these things, he comes to remember why he ever became so strong and pursued strength in the first place. And that was to be able to pick up the love of his life, this lovely, beautiful woman.
This body of mine was really made to do this, for this beautiful person.
He was happy before he gained all these worldly desires, so of course they shouldn't be required for him to be happy now. And yes, he may seem like a simp for loving Maria, even after she throws abuse at him. But remember, he's Biscuit. God, I hate it. He's Biscuit Oliva, and he gets results. And besides, if I looked like she did due to a disease beyond my control, I think I'd be a bit grouchy too. And the fact that he stuck with her through everything and didn't care what anyone else thought is kind of beautiful, and I don't know what's more manly than that. So the main message that Baki as a series conveys is that you shouldn't make concepts like wealth or sex above all else necessary for your own happiness. If you were ever happy before this certain thing came along, then of course you can be happy without it. Simping over someone and failing will just make you unhappy, and so instead you should just be happy regardless of those things, and focus on beating up your dad. Not being a simp is cool, but how about being respected by powerful people, even if you're just a simple youngster? If you want to know exactly how to command respect, check out the video right here, and you'll learn everything you need to know about respect. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you over there.